Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Wednesday, June 25th, and most of the world is focused right now on the World Cup, but there's a few people in Canada who are actually very excited about the beginning of the CFL season 2014, which starts this Thursday, and we are once again going to cover it this year with David Schwab, contributing writer for SBR Forum, who covers the CFL in articles with us. Right now we're going to look at the Grey Cup futures odds. David Schwab, thanks for being back with us.
Okay, good to be back here.
The CFL, David Schwab. I was hoping that they would assign me the World Cup to cover, and I was all ready. I was like, I'm reporting for duty, sir. And they said, Peter, we want you on the CFL this summer.
We did it last year, so I guess you must have did a good job. So
I guess maybe, yeah. And I said, we got to have our best guys on the World Cup. And they said, we know that, Peter. We've got our best guys on the World Cup. We know you're going to hit a home run with the CFL this summer. So we got to deliver, David Schwab, okay?
Okay.
All right, help me with some winners here. All right, CFL Grey Cup futures right now. 102nd Grey Cup, and of course, this year it's going to be played in British Columbia, and I think it's 3 years in a row now that the host team has won the Grey Cup, and British Columbia is right now the co-favorite. They're plus 400 at 5 dimes to win the Grey Cup. Saskatchewan, last year's winner, is also plus 400. They're the co-favorite. The West is looking a lot stronger this year, and you know, British Columbia, they're just always a quality team that they put on the field. You know, they haven't won a playoff game in the past few years, but they're always a team that you know is going to play well. Their defense was retooled, but they usually have, you know, a great defense every year. They're probably going to again. So, you know, if they get to the Grey Cup, you got to figure they're going to have a big advantage, and I'd normally be looking to bet against them, but at plus 400, maybe they have some value as the co-favorite. What do you think?
Yeah, BC's, I mean, you really, when you break down the CFL, I mean, you're going to go towards the West Division right off the bat. That's not to say, you know, Toronto kind of shocked the CFL a little bit 2 years ago when they made a run to the Grey Cup championship, but really the power in this league is definitely out west. You know, and BC, you know, right at the top of that list. They've got the experience. They're not that far removed from a title themselves. So, yeah, you got to have them in any mix of talking about futures. They got to be in your mix, right at the top of your mix.
Yeah, so I think probably my first thought is that if you're looking for a long shot, you'd maybe want to look to some other team in the West, because if you take any team in the East and then they go up against BC in the Grey Cup, they're going to be at a major disadvantage, let alone if they're just up against a superior team from the West. So is there any other team from the West that you think might be a better bet than British Columbia plus 400? Right now, Saskatchewan's also plus 400, Calgary plus 475, and of course, Edmonton at plus 1,100.
I would look at Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
That has it. You know, it's not that it's. I wouldn't automatically consider them a real, you know, long shot.
Right.
But there is the extra value in that plus 475
right.
Makes them. I like them kind of right off the bat. You know, especially if they can win the division again. I mean, they lost to Saskatchewan last year in the West Finals, but I think, you know, they have another run. They went 14-4 last year. They have another run like that. They get the home field advantage. You know, maybe they can edge BC out of there, get a chance to play them at home, as opposed to finishing second and having to, you know, go on the road all the way, you know, kind of beat them on the road, either one way or the other. So yeah, I would have to say like Calgary if I'm gonna look for maybe a little bit longer odds on someone in the West.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's what I was thinking too. When I was doing the research, I was like, I think my pick's going to be Calgary. But then when I looked at the odds, I was like, man, 475. I was hoping for something a little bit bigger. So if you had to take Calgary at plus 475 or BC at plus 400, what would you take?
I'm going to go with Calgary.
Okay.
I think that they were the best team, you know, in the CFL during the regular season. You know, kind of came up short. They ran into a hot Saskatchewan team. You know, they were favored at home, I think by 5, maybe 6 points. I would go with Calgary at 475 over BC.
All right, and is there any team from the East that you think actually might be worth a play? You know, Toronto is a plus 750 right now at 5 dimes, and obviously Ricky Ray, awesome quarterback. And you can in the CFL you can ride a stud quarterback like that all the way to the end of the year, but they don't have a lot of depth in the rest of the team. And if Ricky Ray goes down with injury, which has happened to him before, you know, pretty much you can forget about it there. So do you think that Toronto at plus 750 or any other team from the East might be worth a look?
Yeah, I would have to go with Toronto. Hamilton. I'm not, you know, I know they're going with a new quarterback. I think it's Zach Towers. They had signed in the off season. They kind of got going away from Henry Burris. So that's a little bit of a question mark there. I think Ricky Ray is the class of the quarterbacks in the East. If I was going to go with one team there, I would look at Toronto as having some value. They won obviously they won the Grey Cup in 2012, so they're not that far removed. And they won the division last year. That was another kind of upset in the final when they lost to Hamilton. So Toronto, I think, remains the class of the East coming into the new season.
All right, I'm thinking about maybe if you're going to take a shot with a team from the East, Montreal right now is plus 800, and Troy Smith at quarterback, he was a Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he could, if he turned into a star overnight, that would not be a surprise to anyone. They've got a new coaching staff. They've got a great deep receiving core, and I'm not talking about Chad Ochocinco. I think his presence is overrated. I'm talking about other guys, and they're just a pretty good program. So I'm not sure if I'd want to bet them, but at plus 800, I'm starting to think about it. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I think Troy Smith, that is the big variable in that situation. He hasn't really gotten a shot yet. Montreal went through a host of quarterbacks last year. They knew Cavallo was probably in his last year, and he suffered through injuries. So it's kind of a revolving door there for the last few weeks. And so if Smith comes in as the starter from the start and gets out of the gate quickly, yeah, that is definitely like you mentioned earlier, a quarterback can carry a team in this league, and if he can live anything up to the hype that carried him to that Heisman, and it wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Montreal could be right back on top. Sure.
All right. So if you had to make a pick from the East, would it be Toronto at plus 750, Montreal at plus 800, or some other team?
I still would probably go with Toronto at the 750. If there was longer odds on Montreal,
right.
I think I would jump on that just because of the value. But I think given that the value between the two teams, Toronto's a little bit more established, and we're kind of going out on a limb a little bit with Montreal. So as a safer play, I would go Toronto. But I think you said it earlier. Hey, either one of them is going to have to probably face a really tough team from the West in the Grey Cup, and that's where they both could could run into a problem there.
All right, so it sounds like you're generally favoring Calgary at plus 475 and Toronto at plus 750. So for your final pick to win the Grey Cup in terms of betting value, would you take Calgary or Toronto at those odds?
I'm going to go with Calgary at 475.
I have to agree with that pick. I definitely see where you're coming from. I just wish I was getting a little bit longer odds. So I'm going to take a little bit of a long shot, go out on a limb here. I'm going to go with Montreal plus 800. What do you think about that?
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, we'll see, David Schwab.
You're trying to squeeze out. There's only so many teams in the CFL, so you're not picking against 32 teams. You're only picking against a couple others, so why not?
All right, David Schwab, thanks so much for this call, and now let's move on to the Week 1 lines.